Hello, this is A World Gone Mad, Season 2, Episode 60. I'm Jeff Allen Wolfe, and here we go. It's obvious that co-president Donald Musk does not understand what he's doing. Someone whispers in his ear with a suggestion. He implements a policy from that suggestion. Boom. A new executive order takes place. And then damage happens. Chaos ensues. And then Donald backs down from the policy, reverses course, because of the chaos it's creating. An example of this is his tariffs he slapped on Mexico and China this Saturday, and Canada. He's now pausing the Mexican tariffs, and he stopped the tariffs with Canada today. He said he had a very pleasant call with the Mexican President Sheinbaum, and the same thing with his good call with Canada's Trudeau. And he will be pausing the tariffs on both for a month, 30 days. Why? Because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's like a lot of people in this country who think tariffs are paid for by the country the tariffs are placed on. They are not. Tariffs are placed on the goods coming in from that country. And we, the United States companies buying those goods from those countries, have to pay the tariffs. And what happens from there? Everyone say it together with me. Those extra expenses the USA companies have to pay, they pass those expenses along to us, the American citizens, which means consumer goods and products go up in cost. Donald Delusional will pause the Mexican tariffs, and he did the same for Canada for 30 days. He saw the gas prices were going to rise after he placed the tariffs, which was the latest report at the time. He also saw right after he announced the pause on Mexico that the stock market went back up after dropping when he announced the tariffs in the first place. Yes, he got a few things that Canada and Mexico agreed to do for us, but in the long run, it was just a strong-arm way of doing things. This is how I envision Donald. I'm going to hold my breath until I turn blue, Donald says. You know what? Why don't you just turn freaking blue? Would be a nice change from the orange. Donald holds his breath, but then realizes his policy's not working, so he reverses course again to get out of the situation he put himself into in the first place. Donald the Destructor's methodology reminds me of a driver's education class in school. Remember those? With a student who never drove a car before and has to learn on a stick shift for the first time. You know, that hard jolt back and forth. The jerky jolt happens over and over again when the student changes gears and is trying to learn the shifting. That's what Donald the Delusional is doing with his policies, and then changing them and reversing course. The huge difference is the student for the first time driving the stick shift just annoys the hell out of the driving instructor. That's the worst damage that happens. With Donald, however, he is hurting our country and our citizens and pissing off countries around the world night and day with the results that come from his ridiculous policies versus that kid driving a stick shift. Co-President Donald Musk doesn't get it. He never did. He never will. He throws knives at a target on the wall, and being 78 years old, nothing wrong with being 78, but with him at 78 and being a big, hulking, out-of-shape man, questionable cognitive abilities, he hopes his knives hit somewhere near the bullseye and not throw knives into everyone's eyes like he's doing right now with our country. Massive incompetence from co-president Donald Musk. For those of you new to the show, to the podcast, and you wonder why I call him Donald Musk, because it's either co-president Elon Trump or Donald Musk. Just who the friggin' hell is running this country? Elon purchased the presidency and is whispering in Donald's ear, right? So what is your phrase or word for what you think of Donald and how he's running our country? Send me your one phrase or one word to describe Donald's massive incompetence in the White House right now. Email me, wolfpacklistener@gmail.com, wolfpacklistener@gmail.com. Leave me a comment on Blue Sky. And if you're not on Blue Sky, get off of Facebook, people. Run away from Facebook. Or leave your comment on my toll-free number voicemail box. It's free, hence the words toll-free. 833-399-9653. I hope to hear from you. And what's with this continuation of co-president Elon Trump showing up at departments in Washington, D.C. and buildings, different departments, and telling the people in charge of those important government departments that he wants to see all of their computer files, gain access to the computers themselves, and gaining access to people's personal files? Are you kidding me? Seriously? You, Mr. Elon Trump, have zero right to look at private information from a citizen like myself and anyone else in our country. You should be handcuffed and carried away and locked up, Mr. Co-President Elon Trump. These two, Donald and Elon, come across like two King Kongs, picking up different objects, playing with them to see what happens, not understanding the amount of power they have behind themselves and the massive damage they are causing. Co-President Elon Trump did this to USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. Co-President Elon Trump, using his DOGE made-up department and BS pseudo-power given to him by Donald. And in the last few episodes, I nicknamed DOGE Doggy. But this is exactly what it is. DOGE, Donald's oligarchy, Gestapo enforcement. That's right. It is the Gestapo of Donald's administration. No question about it. Strong-arm tactics of an insecure man, with the country being run by a small group of powerful people using Elon Trump, the co-president, to push his weight around with their Gestapo tactics. And this is only one department that Elon Trump is using his muscle to take over sensitive files and computers. But let's talk about what exactly is USAID. This is the agency Trump and Musk want dismantled. The fate of the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, appeared bleak today. This is after Elon Trump, the world's richest man, charged with overhauling the federal government, so to speak, said President Donald Musk had signed off on him shutting the agency down. Now in Washington, USAID's headquarters were closed for the day, with employees told in an email to remain at home. Here's what you should know about the agency. USAID was established in 1961 under President John F. Kennedy's administration and is the U.S. government's humanitarian arm. It dispenses billions of dollars annually across the world in an effort to alleviate poverty, treat diseases, respond to famines, and natural disasters. It also promotes democracy building, development by supporting non-government organizations, independent media, and social initiatives. USAID is a key soft power tool of the U.S. to foster relations with communities around the world. Officials say, noting that the U.S. national security is approached with the 3D pillars: defense, diplomacy, development, led respectively by the Defense Department, State Department, and USAID itself. Around 60 senior USAID staff were put on leave last week on accusations of attempting to circumvent Trump's executive order to freeze foreign aid for 90 days. Many more staff, junior staff, and contractors within the agency have been placed on furlough as well, multiple sources told CNN. Now, on Saturday, USAID's website, they went dark, and a new page for the agency appeared on the State Department website. USAID's X account also went offline Saturday, and a source told CNN that the entire Public Affairs office was put on leave and locked out of their systems. Secretary of State Marco Rubio today announced that he's now the acting director of USAID in the White House administration from Trump's takeover. And there's further chaos behind the scenes. Still, the ongoing potential cabinet fights. Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's pick for spy chief, is expected to meet with GOP senators this week as behind-the-scenes efforts continue to shore up the support for her nomination among GOP skeptics. The Senate Intelligence Committee is expected to vote on her nomination Tuesday afternoon. Another controversial cabinet pick, Mr. Robert I don't believe in vaccines Kennedy Jr., could also face pushback ahead of a Senate vote. These votes should have happened already, but these two are so controversial that the senators are scrambling around to try to push through Gabbard and Kennedy to salvage their nominations from Donald. Incompetent, unqualified, dangerous people like Gabbard and Kennedy, and the Republican senators are trying to save them. Instead of just saying no, get somebody else. But they don't have the backbone to say that to Donald. The Republicans are just doing the following. They're scrambling around in the dark, in the corners like rats, trying to rally some support for these two losers who shouldn't be in charge of these departments. Two of the most dangerous people out of all the Donald Trump nominees to his cabinet positions. Here's a fun little tidbit in the news, and I say this sarcastically. The Pentagon removes major media outlets, including NBC News, from dedicated workstations in a new rotation program, replacing them with far right-wing news outlets. Also, MSNBC and others, plus historians, are starting to report that in their minds and saying out loud, they think a coup is happening. Saw this today in the news. Started today. They believe that Donald Trump is just a figurehead, and Elon Musk is in charge with a few others. That's right, mainstream media is starting to talk about a possible coup being underway. Not me, people. They started saying it. I happen to agree with them. And not just mainstream media. Progressive Democrats are also accusing Trump and Musk of a plutocratic coup. Progressive lawmakers condemned Donald Trump and Elon Musk on Monday, pointing to the attempted shuttering of the foreign aid agency we just talked about, USAID, and the accessing of the Treasury Department's federal payment system as the markings of a constitutional crisis. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat from Massachusetts, sent a letter to Trump's new Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, on Sunday to demand answers for his role in allowing Musk's team access to the payment system. She warned that such access puts the country at greater risk of defaulting on our debt, which could trigger a global financial crisis, Senator Warren said. It is extraordinarily dangerous to meddle with the critical systems that process trillions of dollars of transactions each year that are essential to preventing a default on federal debt and ensure that tens of millions of Americans receive their Social Security checks, tax refunds, Medicare benefits, Warren wrote. The American people deserve answers about your role in this mismanagement, which threatens the privacy and economic security of every American. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, a Democrat of New York, described the intervention of Musk, who spent more than $290 million on the 2024 election, as a 5 alarm fire and a grave threat to national security, AOC said. This is a plutocratic coup. If you want the power, run for office. Get voted in by the people, AOC said in a social media post. Short of that, this is an exercise in vigilantism. Your thoughts? Do you care as a listener? Or do you just want to hide and not do anything? I know some of you are answering out loud right now while you're listening. Well, what can I do, Jeff? Really can't do anything. I have no power. First thing you could do is give me your thoughts and feelings about what's going on in your mind. Share. Others would like to know what you're thinking. We can share back and forth. It's important to hear each other's thoughts. You have a phone number, an email, and on Blue Sky, you could text me. Let's hear your viewpoint. What do you, the Wolfpack listener, feel? Another thing you can do, call your representatives. I know that's an old tried and true statement, but in this case it's true. If they don't hear from us, they don't think we give a flying you-know-what. Call your representatives, complain. Ask them what they are doing about this. Communicate with your friends. Tell them to engage. Wake up. Tell them to pay attention. Now is not the time to sit on the sidelines. Here's something. Stock up on some supplies, water, canned goods. Be prepared in case supply lines tighten. Don't be caught short. I had one follower on Blue Sky. We were going back and forth a little bit in conversation, and she said she'd have to go back to canning food. Something she knew about a while ago. Great idea. But the main thing is, pay attention. Seriously. Don't hide. Don't run. Don't pretend anything is not happening. That if you don't think about it, it'll go away. It's going to get crazier, and everyone needs to be a part of this to help. There is a constitutional crisis coming if it's not already here. I will continue to update you on episodes on what's happening in the news, what I see, and I'll give my commentary on it, good and bad. And whether I'm doing it alone, with nobody listening, or with thousands listening, I'm not going anywhere. I will be back in 2 days with another episode of A World Gone Mad. We need to put on our big boy pants with respect to the women listening. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. Stay hopeful.